And now we are live, quote unquote. At least people will be seeing it on YouTube.
Yeah, so everybody can look at this beautiful face.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a special treat for those on YouTube, I am drinking out of a Disney coffee cup today. Pop Century Resort.
Oh, that's a nice cup. Since we're doling out special treats for everybody on YouTube, I am drinking out of a Red Solo
cup. Oh, I don't want to sing Toby Keith. Don't make me sing. That's the only one that I ever reference just because that song is so stupid. And sometimes I reference the, I can't even think of the name of the song he released after 9/11, but I released it just
to put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Oh my God.
I reference that just to talk about how stupid and just like everything that's wrong with America is that song. So
yeah, I mean, that is like some flag humping stuff right there. It's cool to like your country, but maybe, keep it in your pants, everybody.
Okay. And now we'll go to
yeah, we're totally going to be flagged as un-American. Fantastic. Thanks, everybody. Walt Disney World.
So we started out like recently before we wrapped up for the year. We were very selective about the states we decided to like tick off.
That's right. We went after one of the Dakotas. West Virginia, because they're nothing but a bunch of cousin loving.
I think Wyoming, maybe.
Wyoming and Vermont.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah. And now we're just knocking out the other 46.
The whole country. Why not?
Bring it on.
We've got some listeners in the UK. That'll keep us alive, I guess.
Absolutely. I hear there's like a Euro Disneyland. Isn't that still a thing? We can go visit that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right.
My children need wine.
Oh. Visit de France.
Oh, God.
Okay. This will be good. I have a feeling this is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Welcome back to the Monday Morning Monorail podcast. This is your first M34D of 2019. I almost said 2009. I don't know what's happening in my brain. But
did Doc Brown work on the monorail while we were off?
It's right. It's cover converted, and it's a time machine, which would be incredible.
I'd be okay with that. Like, seriously, let's make that happen.
It kind of is, right? Because we take people back in time to visit attractions that are no longer open. They've been shuttered, and so it kind of is a little bit of a time. It's an audio time machine, if you will. I'm just looking around for Peabody. I don't know where he's at.
Well, if you're looking for Peabody, which one of us is Sherman?
I feel like I'm probably Sherman. No, I would be Peabody, right? Because I'm the one with the notes, and I'm like pushing up my glass. And well, actually, you see.
Yeah, that is true. And I would be Rocky Bullwinkle.
Okay. Yeah. As long as we're mixing metaphors.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. So, Landon, I haven't even introduced you yet, but welcome back. Happy New Year to you, sir. Landon.
Yeah, you said this is the first M34D of the new year. I didn't get that memo last week, so imagine my surprise when there I was. I showed up bright and early to record. I even paid out of my own pocket money to get this monorail fumigated, get rid of the chicken nugget smell because the nugs was strong in here. And you just weren't there.
I know.
What the heck, man?
Sorry, man. I was still recovering from the trip back from Central Florida.
I thought we were boys or something.
I know, and all I can say is I'm sorry, but
okay, apology accepted.
We're gonna make it right. We're gonna make it right today, starting today, and this is gonna be a good one. We're starting M34D in the new year off on the right foot because we're gonna be talking about parades, not just any parade, the Main Street Electrical Parade. So now's the time.
Main event parade.
That's right. Now's the time where I'm gonna hit that music cue. Oh man, there's nothing that gets stuck in my head more than Baroque hoedown. I mean,
is that the technical term for this? Because I'll be honest, doing prep for this, I've watched like 3 or 4 videos of the parade from beginning to end at different vantage points. I have that thing stuck in my head. So,
oh yeah.
So I'm glad we now have a technical term, Baroque hoedown.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
Synthesizer
heavy. I mean, this thing was created in the 70s, but man, it sounds so 80s to me. And maybe it's just because I've just, my taste of 80s music had a lot of synthesizer heavy, influence. This thing is like, it's a classic. I I miss it today because, as you may know, it is no longer performing nightly at the Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom Park.
Or rather at any of the parks across the country, which is kind of surprising because, I mean, like, to me, this is like some classic Disney. This is grade A nostalgia Disney.
Right
here.
But for those of you who still want to hear the song, you can. It's not gone because, as you may have heard, when Garrett came in and subbed in for Landon on a recent M34D, the electrical water pageant still plays this song. And the thing is, we did this in the right order because the electrical water pageant was something that was created for the opening of Walt Disney World, as they felt like they needed a little something more at nighttime to keep the guests around, keep them engaged. So they created the electrical water pageant. And so we got Baroque Hoedown. It was such a success that it inspired them to create a parade that was first introduced in Disneyland with the same song. So the song's still around. We just don't have the pretty parade anymore.
Well, I mean, I would prefer to have both, but if we can't have both, I guess the song's okay. Yeah. Though, to be fair, and we're going to get to this later, that Elliott Dragon is legit.
It's my favorite. Yeah.
There's another float that I would put right up there, but Elliott is right up there in the running for the best float going on.
Okay. And we'll get to it. Maybe we do a top 10. I don't know if there's more than 10 floats.
I was going to say that feels a little bold, buddy.
It's all of them. It's like saying name your top 10 Star Wars movies right now, because I think we're officially at 10.
Obviously, number one is the Christmas special.
That's right. You got to include the Christmas special. Life Day.
There we go. Yeah. By the way, belated Happy Life Day to everybody.
That's right. We forgot to celebrate it. I don't know what's wrong with us. Chewie would be so disappointed. He's going to take back his hug. So let's talk about the Main Street Electrical Parade. So this parade was created by Robert Janney and project director Ron Miziker. And it apparently, according to our notes, according to the Wikipedia, features over 600,000 electronically controlled LED lights and a synchronized soundtrack. And one of the most important things about the Main Street Electrical Parade is that when it was introduced, they created a new technology, as Disney is one to do anytime that they create a new attraction, a new show, whatever it may be. They're like, you know what, we need this to do something specific. The technology doesn't exist. We'll make it. Why not? So they actually created the ability to have radio control points that trigger different audio as the parade moves down the street. And yeah, it's amazing. It's the first time that this had ever happened. And of course, now this is like a feature for every single parade.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like I made reference in doing prep work for this segment, I watched several videos from different points of view. So I saw the parade, you know, like I said, literally at different points of view. But because of that technology, no matter where you're viewing it from, whenever those cues hit, you're going to hear it. And we're going to talk about this later. It's like, this is one of the cool things that I really like about it is like when a certain pirate ship goes by, it starts to play yo ho, pirate's life. Like those radio triggers will very subtly implement those audio cues to enhance your experience. And like Jay said, this is technology that they created, and now it's just, you know, par for the course.
Yeah. Yeah, it's common now, and it's just another one of those things that Disney pioneered for the better of all of us, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, and speaking of Disney pioneering something, I love the fact that it was like I referenced the notes. It was like 2 months to launch of the parade, and Walt looked at the I guess state of the floats. It's like, yeah, no, this isn't working. We're gonna do this. Like this is now an in-house thing. We're taking care of this in the back lots at Disneyland. And now, like you said, it's you know, standard. Yeah.
So exactly, 2 months before the launch of the parade, right? Of course, Disney was marketing this thing because they wanted the crowds to be there. So it's not like they could just be like, hey, remember how we said the parade was going to launch on X day? Hey, never mind. It's going to be like 3 or 4 months down the road. They weren't going to do that. So they visit the contractor, they look and they see, holy crap, this is way far away from being done. You know what? We're just going to take this and we'll run with it from here.
We got you, fam. Yeah.
Yeah. So they took it into their own warehouses and finished all of it. Hand painting. the lights that were on those floats. We talk about some of the tedious work on some of these attractions. I mean, one of the ones that always comes to my mind now that I know this is that they hand hung all the leaves on that Swiss Family Treehouse. But
yeah, shout out to that guy.
At this point, at the creation of the parade, there were 500,000 bulbs, and each one of those had to be hand painted the right color. That's
oh my God,
insane. That's yeah. Can you imagine, like, after a day? I don't know how many people they had handling that. I hope it was a lot, but if you had several days in a row where you were just painting bulbs,
yeah, but like not even to mention the carpal tunnel you could develop.
But you know, it might also explain some of the design of the floats you see, because they were all high on paint fumes, and they're like, what if there was like a snail who lit up all over? He spins around out there, and he even has like weird sound coming out of it. Yeah.
All right, hear me out, man. Like what if this turtle, he had like glasses? Whoa. Well, like it is funny you mentioned that they were all high on paint fumes. I really hope it is just paint fumes, because, again, I've never been on LSD. I've never done acid, but I'm willing to bet that the Main Street Electrical Parade is pretty similar to what taking those psychotropic drugs are. So I wouldn't put it past the Imagineers if they had some enhancement when it came to their thought process.
You need a little inspiration sometimes.
Have you ever noticed how like my fingers end like right here?
Inspiration can come from unexpected places sometimes. Sometimes it's from the bottom of a paint can. I don't know what to tell you.
Or a piece of paper traced with chemical. Never mind.
Bandersnatch taught me that. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the floats that participate in this parade, and then we can start talking about what our favorites are. Let's talk about the most recent version and the version that you might have seen in the Magic Kingdom. So I'll try to do it in order. I might jump around a little bit. We very recently watched a video of this so we could refresh our memory, but I will say the family did see this live. This is a story I may add to the end. Back in 2014, the family did see this parade before it left the Magic Kingdom park.
Hold on. Is this the infamous trip where you broke your family?
And this was the exact incident that broke the family.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, no.
So we'll get to that little teaser. But as we watched the parade in beautiful 4K, the first thing you see was some fairies and Tinkerbell coming down the street, glowing beautifully. One of the things I love about this, and I've mentioned it before, I am a sucker for sparkling lights. I can't help myself. It's my favorite thing. I mean, I would just love to stare at sparkling lights, and that's how I could spend my evenings, with a nice drink and just surrounded by sparkling lights, especially with synchronized music. Come on. It doesn't get much better than that.
That does sound nice.
Right. So I've always said I'm a big fan of Tomorrowland. It's because I love how it lights up at night. Well, so this parade, everything's basically made out of like sparkly tinsel and lights. And when you're up close to it, especially the little animals that swirl around to get close to you, the turtles, the snails, the bees, there are bees buzzing around.
That is true.
Yeah. You'll see that they're pretty much, it looks like they're wire frames. They've got tinsel on them, and then they're all lined with thousands of lights each. So basically from far away, you can see the forms very clearly, but it's all made of light. It's so cool. I mean, come on.
Yeah, like that right there, when you say you see them coming, like one of the videos that I was watching, it was kind of around like a bend. So in the far right, you could see these balls of light come come out of the darkness and into the light, to quote Pantera. And then as they get closer and closer, it's like, okay, that's exactly what that is. So yeah, I do think that is a very cool aspect as well.
It is. It's amazing. So Tinkerbell's leading the way, which I found interesting. And then right behind her is the Casey Jr. train being driven by one and only Goofy. And on the train, he's pulling it. It's like a big drum that the train's pulling. And it actually at the end of it said Disney Electrical Parade. It used to say Main Street Electrical Parade. The reason it changed was because at one point this parade moved to California Adventure. They don't have a Main Street.
Okay. All right. So
yeah.
Just got to go with the branding at that point.
So then they just had to change it to Disney Electrical Parade. But that's what it said in the most recent iteration. and Mickey and Minnie are on that float as well. So you've got like the leader of the club right in the front of the parade. You know, he's not bringing up the rear. He's not the grand finale. He's
going
right
hot out the gates.
Yeah. So you've got that. And you've, of course, all the while you've got people and any characters you see walking on the street. Their costumes are all lit up.
Decked out in lights. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, it's amazing. It's amazing.
And it's like talking on those characters wearing the lights. It's like, as Disney dorks, it's like part of those, you know, magical moments is when you get that, you know, meet and greet with a character, or you get a picture with a character that you generally don't get to.
Yeah.
Well, seeing all these characters decked out in their, you know, Main Street parade outfits, I mean, that's you know, a next step up. And it's like, unfortunately, it's like now we can't even do meet and greet. So the closest we can do is, you know, pictures and videos that we, you know, experienced.
Right. I actually just had a thought about this as we kind of talking about these floats. It would be awesome. Disney, here's another $1 million idea for you. And I love to just throw these out. It's part of what we do here on the Monday Morning Monorail.
It's a service.
If you wanted to create like I'm thinking it could be like either a Christmas tree, like a wrap, or it could be something you put on the mantle. But basically miniature recreations of the Main Street Electrical Parade that light up. They have little tiny LEDs all in them. And you could put that, and then maybe even make collectible characters that are in their lit up costumes that you could put with the floats. I mean, first of all, I'm telling you, I'd be the first to sign up to buy one.
Right? Yeah, seriously.
That would be on my mantle probably throughout the year, not just Christmas.
I mean, we already talked about it in the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea M34D when they started selling off, you know, the portholes in the Disney shop. That would be a perfect, you know, collectible for, you know, Disney dorks like us. So, yeah. Come on, Disney. We're trying to give you money here.
Oh, man. Printing money for you. So right behind Casey Jr., you've got you start to get to the character floats. And the first one's Alice in Wonderland, sitting on top of a mushroom, I think I remember.
It is a mushroom.
Yeah.
Puffing on a hookah. It's the caterpillar.
The caterpillar's right behind her. That's right. And she's greeting people. She's talking to the crowd, which is pretty cool. And the caterpillar is as well. Following behind Alice, you've got Cinderella in her carriage, and she's she's all decked out, looking beautiful as Cinderella always does. Right behind her, here comes the pirate ship, Peter Pan.
Yes, there it is. Oh my God, yes.
I was just going to ask you, Landon, so I guess this one's your favorite.
Yeah, I like in my original notes for this, it had been a hot minute since I'd seen the Main Street Parade. I started to kind of feels a little long in the tooth, but like right as I started to put that in, here comes the pirate ship. It's like, boom, a second wind. Yeah. And like, honestly, I feel like as soon as Peter Pan and, you know, Hook and the pirate ship, and shout out to Shmi and his dinghy. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so cool. Just, you know, pedaling along down Main Street. Like, I really feel like from that point on, like, at least for me, it's like I dug the first part of the parade, but like I said,
that's where it hit for you.
Farted. It kind of started to feel like it was dragging a little bit, and then boom, once that pirate ship showed up, I was in it from that point to the end. And it's like I said earlier, it's like I feel like this is like classic Disney. This is like grade A nostalgia. That like if you're talking about like the old school Disney stuff, you got your Peter Pan, you got your Cinderella, Snow White, Alice in Wonderland. And like Jay mentioned, at the very front of this parade, it's your heavy hitters. It's your Mickey, Minnie, Goofy. I mean, by the way, where's Donald?
Yeah, Donald gets no love in this parade.
I guess this parade you had to wear pants to be.
This was a pants parade.
Yeah, your pants must come up to here to be a part of this parade. But yeah, it's like I did say I love the Elliott Dragon, but like I think if push came to shove and it was Magical Christmas Land where all my magical dreams come true, and I could only have one of these floats in my backyard, it would be the pirate ship.
Well, yeah, and you forgot to mention working cannons on the side of the pirate ship.
How could I forget that? My neighbors would love it.
It's amazing. Like this thing, of course, it's rolling down the middle of Main Street, but it blasts out the steam with such ferocity that it's like filling up fog on either side of it. It's amazing. It's so cool. And by the way, fog just makes lights in the nighttime even better. So
I mean, that's science.
yeah. So the pirate ship goes by, Smee and his dinghy spinning around goes by, which it's pretty awesome. And then following right behind that, Snow White, you actually see Dopey sitting in a minecart and all the gems.
That was another cool element. It's like Dopey pulling the minecart, and then I couldn't see which of the other two dwarves were in the thing that immediately followed the minecart, but it gave like a panoramic shot of what would have been a mine, and you talk about all these 600,000 lights, like them sparkling like they're gems. That was such a cool spectacle.
Yeah, they absolutely use the lights basically to be placeholders for the gems, and it works very well. It's a very good effect. Right behind that's Pinocchio, and
All right.
no, yeah, I'm the same way. Pinocchio's fine. Like,
Yeah, it's fine.
I think I like the idea of Pinocchio, and I like the character better than I do the movie. The movie has always just been like, yeah, it's Pinocchio. It was one, I think we may have talked about this before, but I remember growing up, we'd open up our little clamshell VHS tapes, put in Pinocchio, and that's when I'd go to bed. Like,
Yeah.
it always put me to sleep. There were parts of it that seem a little slow, but maybe that's just me being a kid with, I'm a millennial, right? So I've got ADHD, and it wasn't entertaining enough.
You're jacked up full of sugar. You didn't have your screen that hadn't been invented for the next 15 years you were going to be addicted to. So, yeah, you were lost.
I know. But then on Pinocchio's...
real quick, talking on Pinocchio, I noticed on the back of his float, the back of it is made of cigars, which as a fan of a cigar.
Yep. Yeah, it works for you. Right on Pinocchio's heels, we get Pete's Dragon. Now, for me, this is the pinnacle. And actually, when I think about the incident that nearly broke my family, the float that I remember seeing the most was Pete's Dragon rolling by, and that one really blew Garrett's mind. He was excited to see that, and of course, Pete's Dragon blows steam out of its mouth or nose, I guess. So that's pretty cool. And then
and it also has Pete on the back talking to the audience, asking if they're having a friend-tabulistic night?
Yeah, something like
that.
Or
a frangelistic night? or a Brangelina night? Something like that.
Y'all having a Brangelina night out there? We all hold up our red Solo cups. And then that's where the character parade ends, and it turns into a salute to all nations, but mostly America. With the American portion honoring America, to honor America. And it's got kind of a flag, several portions of the flag. It's got a big eagle lit up, and it's very patriotic, just like the electrical water pageant. So that's the same way the electrical water pageant ends, with the patriotic portion. So it's very cool. I like that they wrap it up that way. And man, I got to tell you, I mean, it's gone through some changes over the years. It's been, we talked about this thing has traveled to a lot of different parks. It actually existed in 5 different parks worldwide. And the notes that I have say, as of August 21, 2017, only one continues to exist. I don't know if it's still operating, but basically the version in the California Disneyland's resort ran from 72 to 96, and then it was back in 2017. It was in the California Adventure from 2001 to 2010. And then in the Magic Kingdom, it existed from 77 to 2016. And there were some gaps in there. From 91 to 99, it was gone. And I think that's when Spectro Magic was there. And then 2001 to 2010, it was gone. So, and maybe Spectro Magic came back for that portion. I don't exactly know. And then the parade spun off. Actually, it inspired Paint the Night. So Paint the Night is kind of a spiritual child of the Main Street Electrical Parade, and that existed over in Disneyland. And then updated runs Tokyo Disneyland as the Tokyo Disneyland Electrical Parade Dream Lights. And then in 2014, Hong Kong Disneyland premiered a spiritual successor to the Main Street Electrical Parade. It's funny they use those words, Paint the Night. An extended version of Paint the Night premiered in Disneyland May 22nd, 2015 as part of the park's 60th. And then it moved to California Adventure. So that's what I was thinking of. I just forgot about the Hong Kong run. So it's basically toured the world. I
don't think there's any basically. It has.
Yeah, it's been everywhere. It actually even toured Broadway for a special event.
Really?
Did you read that part of the note?
No, I must have missed that part.
Yeah, so it was part of, I think it was, I could be wrong, and right now I can't find it in the notes, but I know that it went down Broadway as part of a premiere of, I think, maybe Hercules.
Wow.
So that it did exist outside of the parks for at least one night only. Very special event.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. And they actually got everybody on Broadway to agree to like shut their lights off so that
Oh, wow.
which is
So,
it's a pretty big deal.
I mean, especially in New York City. I mean, like, I just remember hearing all the troubles that whatever Fast and the Furious movie that they had an action sequence based in Times Square. It's like all the just red tape and hoops they had to jump through.
Yeah.
But I think it's super cool that everybody on Broadway recognized what was going on. It's like, yeah, we're cool with this.
Yeah, exactly. So they shut it down for a very special event. I mean, come on. When Mickey tells you to shut the lights off, you shut the lights off. So.
Oh, you do what I say, damn it.
So really, I mean, that's just about all I wanted to say about the specific parade. But I want to take you back in time just a little bit, because about a month ago, it was actually on December 29th, so not even a month ago, 2 weeks ago to be exact, I put a poll out on the Monday Morning Monorail Twitter. That's @Morning Monorail.
I've heard of that Twitter.
Yeah, you should follow it because you'll get all kinds of updates, especially you'll find out when these new show drops, but then you'll also see my random Disney thoughts throughout the day.
And prizes. Wait, no, not prizes. No, never mind.
I thought you said prices, and I was like, I could name some.
And prices, too. Priceless prizes.
But really what I wanted to bring up is right now there is no nighttime parade in the Magic Kingdom. And for me, look, I realize not everybody out there is a fan of parades. I personally am, and it feels like something is missing in the Magic Kingdom without a nighttime parade. The whole reason they created a nighttime parade was to keep people in the parks until nighttime so that they're continuing to spend money, buy food, buy souvenirs, ride the rides, back in the days when they had to buy the ticket books and use their e-tickets up and all that kind of stuff. So that was the whole reason they created it. But it's a tradition. A nighttime parade is part of it. You want to do the nighttime parade, you want to watch the fireworks, and then everybody gets to go home happy. So
I do agree with you. I do think it is a tradition, but do you think that Disney has been moving in a different way to try and start a new tradition a la Wishes and
Happily Ever After?
Happily Ever After, exactly. Do you feel like Disney is realizing we can still keep them in the park right up until close, but it might be cheaper if we just use, projectors as opposed to floats and stuff like that?
I have to say that you're making a lot of sense financially. I just hope that that's not the case. I really hope, and we can talk about this a little bit as we get into this poll that we put out there, but my hope is that there's something coming. And maybe there'll be something that'll bridge the gap between now and the 50th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom Park. But I really hope that for the 50th, we get, if it's not the Main Street Electrical Parade, something brand new, a new nighttime parade for the park. I think it deserves it, and I think we all deserve it. As Disney fans, we demand it. But here's the question. I said, maybe I'm just a sucker for sparkling lights, but I need an evening parade to come back to the Magic Kingdom. And I ask you, our Twitter followers, what would you like to see rolling down Main Street at night? And the options were the Main Street Electrical Parade, Spectro Magic, Paint the Night, or something brand new. And as I like to say, as usual on social media, we all agreed.
Thank goodness.
I just really enjoy saying it. We got a huge response to this poll. Surprising enough, I've put so many polls out on Twitter. We usually get 30, 40. 30, 40 votes. I'm usually very happy. We got 132 votes in this poll. So this tells you
everybody really liked your poll there.
People are pretty passionate about nighttime parades, I think. The winner at 36%, which isn't like an overwhelming majority, was the Main Street Electrical Parade. Right behind it, 27% was Paint the Night, and then 19% wanted Spectro Magic, and then 18% said something brand new. And as we got into the conversations and the responses, people were saying they would love to see Main Street Electrical come back, or maybe even Spectro Magic come back for like a limited run, and then for the 50th, let's bring something brand new in. I'm
That
all
could be
about
cool.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like originally I was in the camp, I would want just Main Street to come back, but at the same time I realized just because I like it, that might not mean, if technology advances to the point where they can do something new and cool, mind blowing to the point where it's like it could make Main Street look kind of, old school, so to speak. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely, like embrace the new technology, because we talked about part of what made Main Street cool back when it first launched was new technology that has now become par for the course. So I hope that Disney does what Disney do and get the new technology and embrace it. And then in 10, 15 years, we're talking about what this new hotness is. It's just par for the course at that point.
Yeah. So
that said, like I definitely do want some Main Street to come back for the 50th because it's Main Street, yo.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I actually started thinking, one of the things that Disney is continuing to try to do is to take advantage of your Magic Band technology. Mm-hmm. What if they start incorporating some interactivity into the parades so that it reads nearby Magic Bands and it starts interacting with you?
Even if it's just like it starts flashing lights as certain floats go by. Like, say, for example, Peter Pan goes by and all the Magic Bands turn blue to make it look like the pirate ship's floating out in the ocean, or the Seven Dwarves go by and they all just start flashing different colors to make it look like different gems.
Okay. So this is
that
cool.
would be amazing.
That's really cool. That is a different idea, but that is really cool. Like, because they've got the ears that interact with the shows now.
Yes.
And so they could do that.
Oh my God.
But they could do, like, if I've never seen a Magic Band that lights up, but absolutely they could make one.
Mm-hmm.
And so they could do that. But what I was thinking is, like, say, if you say you're getting your photo pass, like you've got your photo pass, you're getting your picture taken with characters or whatever. The floats are going down Main Street, and as it gets close to you, it's flashing up a montage of things that you've done throughout the day, like different people. And look,
that would be cool.
Like, here's you with Mickey, and maybe it's even like almost like a artistic kind of a view of it or something like that. Like something like that. I think that would be a pretty neat.
Be like one of those Facebook things. Congratulations, you and Dale have been friends for 2 years. Here are all your memories of you and Dale.
Oh,
but, it's something you actually care about.
Here's another thing. Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin, right? What if, as a Buzz Lightyear float's going by, they're calling out the, like, high scores? It's like, nice work, Space Ranger.
My God, that would be amazing.
I'm telling you, man. Again, Disney, you're welcome, because this is another freaking brilliant.
Hello, Disney. Money here.
So,
no, unfortunately, if they ended up doing the Buzz Lightyear thing, it would devolve into people like me, like trying to be like, okay, I did 607,000 on this run. If I get this little monster here, this monster there, and then the multiplier there, I can get to the next level. Yeah. I mean, we already found out those videos exist, but if Disney further incentivized us to be like, you can get your name read by Buzz Lightyear, you'd be like, I am literally doing nothing but this for 14
seriously.
hours.
Oh, and Disney, you want to push more traffic to your Play Disney app? Okay. All right. Well,
God, yes.
Yeah. What if somehow, as you're doing the Play Disney app, you're racking up scores, getting achievements, and somehow that influences things you're seeing in the parade as well? I'm just saying, you've got the technology. Do it. Do it.
You're welcome, Disney.
Yeah. Yeah. While you're busy working on that next, like, indistinct coaster somewhere in some place like India, just forget about that. Let's work on it. Still a little salty. Sorry.
Hey, you know what? The Indian market is a vastly growing market.
You saw Bob Iger, like, all of his tweets have been deleted now. Something happened.
Yeah, I saw that he went back and deleted a bunch of his tweets.
Like everything. It's all gone. It's all gone.
It's like, Bob, you do know how the internet works, right?
I think he forgot that you shouldn't mess with Diz Twitter. You just don't do it. So
yeah, sometimes the CEO even has to be hand checked, right, Zoe?
Yes, we finally got a check-in from Zoe today. I appreciate that. That means we've checked all the boxes. Landon, I wanted to ask you, are you as big a fan as I am of parades in the Magic Kingdom? Not just not just nighttime, but parades in general, or even other parks? Or what are your thoughts on parades?
Not to sound like a cliche, but Jay, I love a parade. Um, but it's like, yeah, if there's a parade going on and I'm in between, fast passes for an attraction, or I don't want to go stand in line, if I know I can just, plant myself for like 30 minutes in one place and Disney's going to have a walking show go by me, I'm all for that. But it's like, I love me some Main Street. I looking around online, I've seen some people describe it as nightmare fuel, which I do not get. Like we have talked about nightmare fuel on specifically this segment of this podcast before, but it's like, this to me isn't nightmare fuel. Like this is some amazing technology. Yeah, maybe, it's kind of a little bit older technology, but that still doesn't make it any less amazing. Like the 600,000 lights put together, you sync it with the radio signals to bring in songs underneath an already iconic theme or soundtrack. I like parades, and I love the Main Street Electrical Parade.
Cool. Did you ever see the Festival of Fantasy in person, the daytime parade?
Did not see that in person, no.
So daytime parades have always underwhelmed me a bit. I definitely, like I said,
this is the daytime.
Like I said, I'm a sucker for nighttime parades that have the sparkling lights and the music and stuff. And
plus, the dark can hide a lot of stuff when it comes to stage and presentation.
That's right. It makes it. It is. I mean, it's just like the theater, right? You turn the lights out because that helps you with this
exactly. Yep.
The theater acting. But I was going to say and the other thing that always confused me is I never could figure out when the 3:30 parade was, so I always missed it. But the Festival of Fantasy Parade, if I can say it correctly, was one that I thought was well worth it. I really liked the movement that they built into the floats. Like you would have enjoyed the Hook and Peter Pan like swinging on the anchor. That was always really cool. The stuff that they did with, I guess all I really have to say is steampunk dragon that blows fire, right? Come on.
Wait. Was this the same dragon that caught on fire on the left coast a couple years ago?
No, that was in Orlando, and that's the dragon. You don't get much more.
That's so metal.
Much more metal than that's exactly what I'm saying. Its head caught fire. I hear it's coming back. I don't think it's back yet, but I hear it's coming back very soon. So it's a cool parade, and I really do. The thing about the parades is it's cool because there's a lot of good viewing spots, and you can always find a good spot. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you have to be right in the center of the hub, right in front of the partner statue and blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't have to be that.
No, to be fair, on my last experience for the Main Street parade, there were definitely those people that, like, I was talking to some people. It's like, hey, can I just kind of, edge up here? It's like, I've been here for 2.5 hours.
They do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Crazy pants. I'm gonna go over here.
Yeah, they do it. People stake out their spots, but luckily there's a lot of room, and you can usually find a good spot for viewing, and you don't have to use these people obviously planned out part of their day to watch the parade, but you don't necessarily have to make a big thing out of it. So I don't know. I think that parades are part of the fun of the park. So I really hope that we don't ever see a time where, from a budget perspective, they're like, you know what, we can still entertain people without having actors out there walking up and down or characters or whatever, cast members.
There we go.
Yeah, that's the word I was searching for.
Keep it on brand, dude.
Yeah. So, I hope that we do see a nighttime parade come back soon. So
it's kind of crazy that they don't have anything like that. Yeah. Like you would think the nighttime parade leading into what replaced Wishes?
Happily Ever After.
Happily Ever After. That right there. You already have a captive audience of everybody who wanted to hang out and watch the parade. So why not do just one back to the other?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. So story time, and I'll make it quick because this has been a long one. Surprisingly, our parade episode is one of our longest ones. But so the story is, and you may have heard Sam talk about this a little bit in the past. When we went in 2014, she had one goal. I handled all the planning, all the fast passes, our daily schedule, everything down to.
She had no idea what she was getting into.
She had no idea. She had one goal, and that was she wanted a lobster roll from the Columbia Harbor House. That's all she wanted.
Okay, that seems doable.
Right. So we're getting very close to Main Street Electrical Parade time, and we were looking at our watches, and I was like, you know what? We could squeeze in one more ride of Pirates of the Caribbean, one of my favorite attractions. I wanted to do it one more time.
It's a good one.
So we get in line. The line takes a little bit longer than it should have. And when we come out, they are already blocking the streets off for the parade.
Oh, no. And as anybody who's been to Walt Disney World knows, as soon as they start blocking off ways to go, like, oh, man, strap in.
Yeah, you might as well find a place to get in.
Exactly. Get comfortable.
Yeah. So we start trying to make a beeline because at this point people are still like not listening to cast members and they're crossing streets and like and I was like, we can be these people. Come on, let's go. So we're trying to make it. We're trying to make it to
be these people.
We're trying to make it to Columbia Harbor House, and we get like around the like. Oh gosh, I want to pull up a map of the Magic Kingdom because how close we got is unbelievable.
But this doesn't bode well.
Right, because I'm telling you, we didn't make it.
Oh no!
So the parade start like we get so close, and then we get to a point where they're like, you cannot cross the street. Like basically, it was going to be an issue if I tried to walk in front of this cast.
We're going to Disney jail.
Yeah, something bad was going to happen to me or them. It was going to be somebody, and
I'm going to break your legs.
Yeah, it was not going to be good. But essentially, we made it to Liberty Square. So if you can picture, there's a walkway that goes like there's a bridge. If you're looking at Cinderella Castle, there part of the hub, one of the spokes goes up through and like to Liberty Square. So you could go across the bridge, and if you hang a right, you're headed like right towards the Haunted Mansion. Once you get like around, what is this building that we're looking at here? Like Liberty Square Market. So you get around Liberty Square Market, you go north, and Haunted Mansion's going to be right there in front of you. We made it to Sleepy Hollow, which is basically in view of the bridge that goes into the hub. So the parade route, it starts over in Adventureland. It passes, up to Liberty Square, and then it goes over that bridge into the hub and then down Main Street. So we were at Sleepy Hollow, basically stuck. We felt like we couldn't get in, and we thought there was no way for us to get from where we were to Columbia Harbor House. So it's like, all right, well, let's settle in and watch the parade. So I was like, well, if we're stuck, I might as well get somewhere where I can see the parade. So I ask everyone. Sam will tell you that I just walked away and left her and McKenna sitting and like in misery that we couldn't make it to the restaurant. Everyone's tired. We've been out all day long. They sit down on like a planter where their
feet are bleeding. You've been running them to death. Like they're whole in their soles of their shoes.
Oh yeah. They at this point their feet are like hamburgers. Like they've been they're both tired. It's been hot. They
walked uphill 17 miles both ways in the snow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they look like they've been through it, and they had because I'd worn everybody out. So
I have no doubt that you broke them.
I asked to the family, would you all like to go see, at least move where we can see the parade? They didn't. McKenna and Sam did not respond to me. I later found out they didn't.
Yeah, probably because they were dead.
I later found out they didn't hear me at all. Garrett was like, yeah, I want to see the parade. So I put him up on my shoulders, and we walk over to where we can see, from Sleepy Hollow, we can see the bridge. So we can see everything like passing. We're not right there, but we can see it all passing. So as soon as the parade's over, I turn around. McKenna's crying. Sam is crying.
And probably not the good type of tears you want at the end of a Disney nighttime show.
McKenna was sad. Sam was crying like out of anger because she thought that I was just like, all right, see you guys later. And I grabbed Garrett and left like for no apparent reason.
Oh, no.
So I come back over, and the thing was where we were standing. She'll tell you I'm lying about this. Where we were standing, I could have reached out and tapped McKenna. Like I was not far away from it. So anyway, the parade ends. I go back over, and they're miserable and angry, and like someone's going to pay for this. I was like, come on, let's go to Columbia Harbor.
Let's go get lobster rolls.
Let's do it. We go around the corner. We find out we were maybe 50 feet from Columbia Harbor House, and we probably could have made it.
Oh, no.
We walk in the door, and they've shut everything down. It's closed.
Oh my God. At that point, you're like, hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, this is how I die. Fantastic.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, my life is over. Sam may have said some words that weren't Disney appropriate at that point.
Yeah, those are more DreamWorks words, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, and so I'm now planning, like, basically, I'm starting to make my final arrangements. We're close to the Haunted Mansion. I might as well do it.
Y'all got room for one more?
Yeah. So at that point, I knew my life was over. The good news for us is that we were all starving. There was still food available. We ended up going to Pecos Bill, and to this day, Sam hates Pecos Bill because she holds this whole thing against that place.
Because it's not lobster rolls.
Yeah, so she'll probably never go there again. I enjoyed what I got from Pecos Bill. I thought it was pretty good. And here's the even worse part. We got our food. We go out and sit down on we found a table outside that actually we had view of the Wishes fireworks from where we were sitting. No one would even look at the fireworks. Like, everyone was so upset. Everyone was so upset and tired and mad. They basically sat and just indignant, just spitefully would not look at the fireworks. I'm like, look, it's right there. It's
Wishes.
Yeah. But
I must start crying if we talk about Wishes.
I know. So
sorry, never mind.
That's the story. And
wow.
I survived. I'm here to tell you today I'm alive, but I don't know how I made it.
Congratulations. Clearly it's some sort of black magic, or you sold your soul to the devil. Also, I'm making note when I head down to Orlando to hang out with your wife, we're going to go get some god dang lobster.
Yeah. Yeah, you better, because she still has not acquired one from Columbia Harbor House. So
seriously, what type? Pardon my French, you are a jackass.
Well, when we went back, we went to the after hours event, and Columbia Harbor House wasn't open, so we couldn't. It wasn't even an option. So.
You know what, Jay? You keep finding excuses. Just give your woman a lobster roll. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Come on.
So with that, again, I have well established on this episode or on this podcast that I'm a terrible father. I am also a terrible husband, and this is Exhibit A.
Like, here's a shovel. Can you dig it? And Jay's like, everybody, we can dig it. Like Jay is tag team right now.
That's right. So there you go. Landon, any parting thoughts before we wrap?
Yes, actually, I outsourced some opinions for my research on this, and a friend of the podcast, Jessica, she is a big as mouse head, ear head. What's the term you people like to use?
You people.
I know, right? Yeah. Suck at universal rules. No, never mind. I'm just kidding. Jessica gave me this little tidbit in 2015. She did the Keys to the Kingdom tour, which, gives you some behind the scenes access to some aspects of the park. I haven't been able to take part in this. I'd like to, but she says in 2015, they were able to go into a big hangar area and get some up close views of the floats that needed some repair, but at the same time, they were literally like face to face. So I think that's super cool.
That is really cool. Yeah.
So something to think about. That's one thing that isn't necessarily a ride or a dining experience you can do in the park. It's the tours.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. Yeah, we don't talk much about those because I've never done them.
I would love to do that, but it's like at the same time, it's like I would feel almost like I'm cheating on Disney because I'm down at a park and I only have a finite amount of time and I'm not riding a roller coaster. But at the same time, like if I was down there for like 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half, I would love to get in on some of those tours.
Yeah.
That stuff sounds awesome.
I agree. I think that's probably a really good topic for a future episode. We need to get someone who's maybe experienced some of these tours and we could talk about it a little bit. I really think that would be a good idea. And Sam is strongly considering doing that Food of the Magic Kingdom tour or whatever they're calling it.
She absolutely should.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. That sounds right up our alley. So,
Sam, if you're listening to this, I give you permission. Do it. I don't know if that's going to sway anything, but you have it.
Maybe they'll have lobster rolls available for her.
There we go. Yeah, you can get your lobster roll on, baby.
If they know what's good for her, they better have lobster. So, yeah.
We're gonna bring in a lobster roll here, all right?
All right, Landon, it's time for the plugs. Tell us where we can find you if we want more of the great content that you produce all the time.
Landoz. Please go follow me, Landon. I'm the best. Landon, not the rest. And something. He gets. Wait, no, never mind. Twitter.com/Landoz, Landoz. That's where you can find the latest from me. 280 characters at a time. Also on the website, buttmunchchips.com. Buttmunchchips.
Sit on your butt.
And Munch. That's where you can find the exclusively posted Game of Thrones Talk, a.k.a. Got Talk, where myself and Hunter Reese, we break down each episode of HBO's award-winning series, Game of Thrones. We have a complete rundown of Season 7, and I don't want to alarm anybody. We're in the approaching of a new Game of Thrones. It is the final season, so I'm willing to bet once HBO graces us with their new hotness in mid-April, myself and Hunter Reese will return to give you our thoughts because, God dang it, I'm still paying for the website for another year. I also, speaking of paying for the website, Near Fall Radio, that is if you're a fan of the sweet size professional wrestling and you're a fan of myself and Justin Kritzinger, subscribe to that. Hopefully WWE gives us some content we actually want to talk about. Though, Jay, quick little Near Fall segment. Any thoughts on All Elite Wrestling or AEW?
Man, I'm only just really learning about this, and I've read articles. I haven't watched any of their the things that they've done. I know that it was like in Jacksonville, they had kind of a rally for All Elite Wrestling and kind of talked about what was coming. So I read all about that. I think it's pretty cool and good for the wrestlers because I know that WWE has always, we could probably say, taken advantage of the talent. And it sounds like All Elite Wrestling is going to basically make, like, especially the feature wrestlers are going to be kind of almost like part owners of the promotion, and they're going to get health benefits, which is something they should have.
Yes, health benefits, what you mentioned right there. You talking about how WWE might have been taking advantage of their talent. This is all combat sports as a whole. Like, it isn't just professional wrestling. It isn't just MMA. It isn't just boxing. Every single one of those people are what's considered an independent contractor, which means their employer doesn't have to provide them health care, which, I mean, you would think is kind of counterproductive, so to speak, if you're in a yeah, exactly. If you're in a business where you're, taking chair shots and stuff. But All Elite Wrestling saying health benefits like this, like that right there could be the biggest game changer, period.
And they bringing in Jericho and
oh man, yeah, like I know this isn't a wrestling podcast, but ladies and gentlemen, if you were a fan of wrestling back in the 90s during the Attitude Era when it was WCW versus WWF, this might be the closest thing we're going to get. Like, pay attention to what AEW is doing because as a wrestling fan, I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. And then just as an additional side note, I just found out that the tapings they do for NXT are always done at Full Sail in Orlando. So,
oh my God, that's
so I'll be able to go to NXT tapings, which is pretty cool.
So, buddy, what's up? I might literally live in your backyard as that alligator.
Hey, come on down, man. It'll be fun. We'll have a great time.
Hey, it's going to be fun on the bun.
Yeah, and this segment is going to be fun on the bun all year long. We're going to continue to bring you the great content on M34D, and we couldn't do it without my friend, my companion, my brother, my partner in crime, Landon Doan. Landon, thank you for joining us for another M34D.
I'm glad to do it, buddy. Always fun on the fun beat. Now we throw it back to the humdrum beat.